I love the good news. Guys, welcome to Mindset Morning. And the good news is it's Friday. The good news is we are wrapping up exactly what to say, the real estate edition today. And so anything and everything is on the table for you guys to chat about today and bring into the room. And I'm really going to step back today and let you guys rock it and lead it and wrap this thing up at a high level. So, who wants to start and kick it off?
I thought the chapter on asking a favor was a really it's more of a conversation that you're planning in advance. It's not just a one-time ask. It's a several-step process. And I really like the way he laid it out. He said, the reason you're not doing this is, number one, because you're lazy. Number two, because you don't know what to say, and then you don't know when to say it. And he eliminated the first one right off the bat. So this is a conversation. It's not just a one-time ask. It's an ongoing process here. So I thought the way he did this was very well done. So I'm thinking of different ways, different places in the transaction to use this.
Well, I think it was a good job. Were you done, Doug?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think he's done a really good job of obviously getting us they've given us the nuggets and kind of given us the scenarios, and then we're able to brainstorm and figure out the different scenarios where you can insert some of these. I think as I've kind of gone back and reread some of the chapters, the thing I didn't pick up the first time is a really good way to say it is he's giving us substitutions to use in place of bad habits we've put ourselves in. And then he gives us the warning of never say this. And that follows on up with the is now a good time to talk, right? And that is a weak and I'm guilty of it. It is hey, I don't want to push too hard, but if you give me permission, I'll keep talking. And it is definitely not a leading phrase. It's definitely not a closing phrase. And I don't think it does anything to garner the respect or even the permission that you think it's granting you.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And Rod Stewart, I think, had a song where he said, her ad lib lines were well rehearsed. Easy for me to say, and to me, that's what we're doing here. We may not know how the conversation is going to flow, yet we've got a path that no matter how it goes, whether we've got the only thing that's good about the house, as Mark kind of implied, was you got a great entry. Or however it goes, you're able to follow a path with an idea at the end that, hey, can I ask a small favor? Oh yeah, what's that? I need a 5-star review in these different websites. But anyway, to me, it's such a good thing, and it's just like all the other books that we've read. You've got to apply it, and so it's going to continue to be a workshop that we probably need to all participate in.
Maybe let's say 2:00 Central, Monday through Friday.
Ideas in action.
Oh, you mean there is a workshop already?
Heaven forbid, yeah. People just have to show up, and I want to thank the folks that did yesterday. You guys worked it. It was great to pop in and out and see you guys workshopping that. And I want to come back on that same topic to Tom's Rod Stewart quote. Her ad lib lines were well rehearsed. It ties into one of our core tenets. Spontaneity is a conditioned reflex. When you guys watch me, like we did yesterday, role play a listing objection, And wow, he looks so spontaneous and he's got all these pieces. And it's because I've said them over and over and over to myself out loud. And then I have practiced and role played them over and over in rooms, in masterminds, in small groups. And all of a sudden, they become yours. It's one of the keys with this whole scripting. I hear from people all the time, I don't like scripts. They don't sound like me. Well, they don't sound like you because you haven't been working them. You work them over and over and over at your own tonality rate of speech. Now they become yours. Tom?
Well, there's one of the videos that's out. That's an EXP agent, and she said, "Yeah, well, Tom Cruise doesn't go and say, oh, these lines don't sound like me. No, you're playing a role, and when you're playing the role, learn how to play it, and then make it you." And to that end, there's another guy that was on the more recent Top Gun who didn't get the job that he wanted, the part that he wanted. And Tom Cruise was interviewing him. He said, well, why aren't you going to work with us? He said, well, I'm not sure. Well, what do you want to do? He said, I want to be you, Tom Cruise. He goes, okay, well, here's what I've done. I've taken movies that are good and made my role memorable. And that's what you need to do. And that's what you need to do in the memories and minds of the people that you are contacting on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis.
Coach, I want to also add to, I remember in a prior training that we had where we would read actually a movie script line by line, where it'd be two people, and then we would see the difference of us and then a professional actor where, where people say, well, it sounds like a script and blah, blah, blah. But when you make it, you internalize it, it doesn't sound like a script. That's why all movies, all TV shows are scripts. They're line by lines. Now, I just watched, to take it a little bit outside, the Denzel Washington scene in Training Day at the end where he says, Godzilla has nothing on me. He improvised certain parts of those lines, right? But that was because of years and years and years and years of training that he has, and he felt in that moment to inject that part of him, and ultimately that was him. And so we can implement like our parts of that script. That's why Coach says, you guys have a script, you guys just don't know it. You're using that same thing over and over again. But I love to highlight that part where in movies, all of those are scripts and none of them seem that way, but because they practice them so well.
And I think as a whole, our industry needs to get over that we're not Denzel Washington, and we need to suck it up and actually do more and get better at what we do. So you become the person that you want to be instead of saying it doesn't fit me. So step up your game instead of, I'm just being real about this. Like this is what causes realtors and used car salesmen to have the same type of feeling towards it, because we don't practice, we don't get better. We only just expect to do the bare minimum and get, 10 times the results. Let's get after it. Let's push each other. Let's get where you want to be and practice it at the high level, and then real play it at the high level.
Yeah, Tom or Ryan, I just want to push back a little. I'm not a Tom Cruise. I'm more of a Patrick Dempsey. Josh, what do you have?
I was just going to say, word tracks, if you've spent enough time in retail, you have those verbal tics, those verbal word tracks that you kind of reuse all the time. But I think this puts a little more strategery in it, and kind of gets you off those word tracks that are just bad habits. And Ryan, you are Denzel Washington, so he's got nothing on you, but we all can get better in that situation where we don't know what to say. It's easy when we know what to say in the normal situations. Where I think this really helps you is in one of those awkward places where you really have to pull back from something. And we've seen lately in the news and in the media, you don't want to just babble. You don't want to just say something for the sake of saying it, because it can come back to haunt you.
Oh boy, ain't that at your butt? But I want to address this real quick for everybody. How many, by show of hands, have ever had that awkward moment where you don't know what to say? So I want to solve that right now, permanently, forever for you. In that moment, what should you do?
Shut up.
Nothing. Say nothing.
Ask a question.
No, I want something to
Ask a
happen. I want
question.
words to come out of your mouth.
Ask a question.
Ask a question.
Ask any question. Ask a question. Okay? If you've been asked a question and you don't know what to say, which also happens, then the magic in that moment is, I'm so glad you asked about that. That will buy your subconscious just enough time to come up with an answer. So if you're asked a question and you don't know how to answer, I am so glad you brought that up. I'm so glad you asked about that. And
If you're
it's
not,
awkward, you don't know what to say, ask a question. I hear all kinds of hot mics. I hear Kendra logging notes. Kendra, what do you got?
Okay, so just to spin off of that, we could like go ahead and like you were giving the suggestion. I'm so glad you brought that up. Like go ahead and pick through questions to buy yourself time to go ahead and memorize when you get stumbled up in those quiet moments. And then, so I had this idea a couple years ago and I actually did it one time, but I never really asked for professional help on it or like skilled it. But I was going through my database and like, you've got your A clients, B clients, C clients. Well, some of my friends are sphere of influences who were on the fence or like a year out. I can't hear myself. Okay.
Oh, you're good. Keep going, Kendra. I'm taking care of noisy mics in the background.
Okay, thank you. Whew. Okay, so my idea was like, when I was going through my database, I didn't know what to do with these people who were like a year out or 2 years out, who in my heart, I was like, I know they could potentially buy and I know that they would or yada, yada, yada. But how can I still get in front of them? How can I still get them to want to refer me even if they don't want to? How can I still like refine my skills? And I wanted to record myself on these appointments in front of someone, but not like on the high level moments where it mattered, where they were ready to turn. So like, yeah, if you have C clients, maybe pick like 5 of them and you talk to them, they're like, no, not yet, or you're out. Say, okay, well, do you mind if I set an appointment with you and record myself and walk you through what a buyer presentation is like? And you can just answer those questions and you're helping me in my business. And then you're going to learn along the way of some of those questions that are going to come up a year down the road when you are ready. Like, I'm curious what everyone's opinion is on that, or if you've ever recorded yourself or practiced in front of someone to help you get over some of those stage frights, because I learned a lot about where I pause and get stumbled by doing that versus, and that's kind of like next level after you script practice with your agents.
Every day
Caesar,
at 2 p.m. we can address that and we can practice and role play it.
3 p.m.
2 p.m. Central.
2 p.m.
I don't know where
2
you are.
p.m. Central, 3 p.m. your time, Kendra.
Oh, okay.
Now, here's another fun one, though, because Kendra, I like the concept with C buyers because we're supposed to practice and role play, right? And if it's a C buyer, we could do that. By the way, if we did it well, could they maybe move from a C to a B? Maybe they're saying not now because they don't like you. So think about this. Chapter 27, as they say, no, we're not ready to do anything for at least a year. Just one more thing. Would you be willing to do me a favor? Just do me a small favor. Sure, what is it? Well, I would love to get better. And then go right into that script, Kendra, you have about actually practice and role play. The only thing I'd add, again, to plus your game, I'd like to record it to go through it with my coach.
Okay. Thank you.
Now they know also that you've actually got a business coach helping you. And I'm up for it, guys. This is a great way to set up practice and role plays and potentially move a no into a maybe or a yes. Kendra, I believe it's absolutely brilliant. Josh, what do you got?
So the the thing when I first picked up this book that made me say this is different is rather than use the term appendix in the back, he uses the term field guide. And I'm going to encourage everybody, and I've already started doing this, and it has made a huge difference. If you're getting online leads and you have any kind of campaign set up in KV Core, go through, or whatever CRM, go through and look through some of his responses that he has, everything from expireds to FISBOs to just circle prospecting to a fresh lead that just is browsing. These are the things that you want to take a couple hours on a Sunday afternoon while it's not football season and type these into your CRM campaigns. I can tell you, I've had it for 3 days now. There's a couple 8% new homes that are on a hit list, and I've got 2 or 3 different showings for these $230,000 price points, well below market in our area, 8% pay houses that I just shot it out and then went through kind of some of the responses in the field guide when you had people that had no desire to be getting hit about houses, and now we're going to look at.
Amen. And thank you for bringing that forward, making sure people do that. And brilliant going back as stuff hits your desk. Who is this applicable to in my database? And sending out some info. That is fabulous. Client, your mic is ready to go. What do you got, brother?
It says mic'd or something, I think.
Okay, Ryan, you're up next.
One of the things that I've kind of had to do in the since we came over, 4 months ago or whatever it's been, is understanding that I had to rewrite my job description. And when you rewrite your job description, all your questions change. So when as far as what this book has taught me is to be able to apply those questions to different scenarios as far as what your job description entails. Like, half the time, I don't think we even understand what our job description is day to day. So actually being really mindful of that situation, whether it's you're the listing agent, you're the buyer's agent, you're a coach, you are working on attraction, understanding those questions and being able to really work through those, to whether you call them bullet points, scripts, whatever it is, but do the work first, and go out there and execute at a high level. That's what I'm applying from this entire book. What else are you guys actually going to apply from this book is my challenge to all of you right now. Is there something that you're going to pull out of here for yourself specifically that is going to implement into your business immediately?
Superb.
Ryan, I think you're absolutely correct.
Client, what do you got? You've been coming in with a little background noise. What do you got, brother?
I'm sorry. Hey, just wanted to say something real quick. In regards to, going back to do me a favor, one of the things that I did that was really helpful is a lot of times we ask people for things, but we fail a lot of times to give. So one of the things that I've done for businesses and has been really helpful, and I've called someone and said, hey, I'm just checking on you. How you doing? Listen, is there anything that I can do for you in your business? What type of customer are you looking for in your business? And so we're asking, it makes it a lot easier for us to ask for something when we're legitimately giving something and helping someone. So many times as agents, we're extracting out of people and we're surprised when they're tired of getting sucked on. So let's remember, in asking for a favor, that's awesome. Let us never forget to give more than we're asking for.
And again, it's a great question, client, which I've added to the bonus list of questions now. What can I do to help you with your business? If you're building a great business to business database, one of the things we teach in our classes about go after businesses rather than individual consumers, now you've got a great tool to come back with that question. All right, who else?
Going back to what Ryan said, like, what are you going to pull out of this and start using right away? So I went on a listing appointment yesterday, and I took a class from Tony Casella years ago, and he taught me how to be prepared for a listing presentation long before you go on a listing presentation. He said, you want to show up when you say you're going to show up. And the first thing you do when you get to the door is let them know, hey, it's 3 o'clock. My appointment's at 3 o'clock. I'm here on time. Just let them know that you respected the time frame. He also said, when you're on your way there, like, put on music that inspires you. He also said, don't take a phone call while you're there, especially your spouse. He said, do not get on the phone because you want to be in the very best positive position when you get there. Another thing he said, have lots of energy when you walk through the door. Be super excited and find something in the house that you like and talk about it. Like I said, I went through this trash bucket, the nicest thing I could find with the steps. But I talked about it. The other thing that I put in my head just recently is Russ says this all the time. He says, don't say blah, 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 blah when blah is enough. Second thing he says, ask questions. So I went in there and I said to myself, I'm not going to run my mouth at all unless it pertains to something that's specific to the listing presentation or me gaining more information. And so many times I caught myself wanting to talk after them, because it brings up where you can like build rapport. And I chose not to do that and stick to the questions. And I was in and out of this appointment in 35 minutes because I stuck to the listing presentation. I stuck to, in my mind, I had those questions. And I didn't need every single one of these in the book. I picked 4. And it said, just stick with these 4 questions and you're going to get in and out of there. You're going to feel like a professional. You're not going to waste their time. You're not going to talk too much. And you're going to get in and out of there. And it was absolutely wonderful. So I agree with Ryan 100%. And he even says this in the book. It's one thing to read the book. It's another thing. You have 2 options. You can read the book and like read this really cool book and sounds exciting. Or number 2 is you can actually do something with it. And I think you're spot on with that, Ryan.
Fabulous. We got 5 more minutes, everybody. We got 29 people in the room. So who else?
I'll add
some nuggets.
a short little nugget, Coach. What I like is that it reinforces certain terms that I don't know if you guys use, but I've been using a few of them, and it's just cool to see them in the book, like with the tonalities as well on the chapter 19. Would it help if we get, and then they're like, I've used that in the past, which is cool, and I know we used this before. If I can, will you? In the sense of, well, if I can do this, will you be open-minded to open so and so? So that's what I love about the book, that it's reinforces maybe certain terms that are already used, or shortens them in like what Mark was saying, and just actually questions and just shortening the time. And as a quick little nugget, Mark, one of my first listing appointments was like 3 hours because I have like no training before. Even I think met coach, and I was just going off the cuff. Like what got that listing was just the rapport, but not knowing that, like, hey, shut up and not talk so much and take more control of the situation. So I'd rather do 30 minutes than like close to 3 hours.
Well, thank you for taking those nuggets to heart, brother. And I love that you keep bringing them into the room and helping others know just the history. And if they will just take those nuggets from you, man, magic will happen. Ryan, go for it. What do you got, brother?
Yep. There's a quote from Michael Jordan, and it talks about there's 3 types of people in life. Some people want it to happen. Some people wish it would happen, and some people make it happen. So reading these books, which one are you? And how do you apply it for what you're moving forward with? I'm going to keep bringing back, because all the people with your mics and your video off, are you going to apply it? Or are you wishing it's going to happen?
Yeah, my favorite kind of growth so far this year, I've got someone else to be the hammer now, don't I, Mark? I don't have to do it every time. Thank you, Ryan, for bringing a little of that heat to everybody. I do appreciate it.
Hey, every once in a while.
All right, Justin, brother, I see your mic hot. What do you got, Justin?
Oh, I was just thinking from what Ryan was saying, like the watch it, wish it, make it. We can't watch it happen with them because their camera's off.
I like the sense of humor, brother.
It's a one way.
All right.
It's a one-way watch. Good
Now,
job, Jamal.
client has got
Does it
one
work now?
off. He also has one on though.
Well,
So
because
he's playing both sides. What do you
well,
got,
because
client?
what's happening is something's going on with my computer and it's not working right. But that's okay. Hey, listen, I wanted to talk about as promised. So in chapter 29, it talks about, holding up to your promise. We're in sales, but we are inherently, how should I put this? Many of us are on undedicated in regards to how we manage stuff in our time. And what happens a lot of times is we call people randomly and we're surprised when they don't act like they really want to talk to us. And one of the things I got about this, it says instead of being pushy, our goal is to be able to punctuate the opening of our conversation with the magic words as promised. When someone calls me and they say, hey, we have this time scheduled or whatever, even if I forgot about the scheduled time, because I promised, I'm still going to say, you know what? Yeah, let's go. And the thing that I liked about that also is because you start with as promised and you have that time scheduled out, it allows you the time and the space, if you have done the work prior, of making sure that your ad lib exactly has not been ad lib, it's been well rehearsed. You now have the time that you need. I'm going to use that as promised. I think that's so powerful. What do you guys think about that?
Well, as promised, it is the bottom of the hour. And so I am going to honor and respect that, especially on a Friday, and get you guys out of here on time.